Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show as we continue our tour through Ireland. We're in the northwest of Ireland this week, and I'm with Paul Eales once again. If you remember, Eales was with us last week talking about shots that you want to play on links golf courses. This man played in 8 Opens. He's a winner on what was then called the European Tour. He won on the Legends Tour. He won on the Challenge. He won every level that he has played at. So last week, Eales, we were talking a lot about these kind of almost dead-handed little shots. Maybe it was an 8-iron that you only wanted to go 130 yards because you were working it with the wind or against the wind, as it were, as you were explaining to us. We thought maybe this week it would be fun to have you teach us a little bit more about the short game and the challenges that you face in links golf in that regard.
Absolutely, madam. And the great thing about the environment on links golf, it gives you so much optionality that you probably wouldn't have on, say, a parkland course where it was lush and soft. You've got to use the ground here, use the environment. The wind's blowing, normally coming sideways, downwind. You've got to take all that into effect, as you do with the lie, which is normally really tight. So it's not that easy to get the club underneath the ball to get the loft. But we're just going to show you a few things here. We've got a sand wedge, 56, a putter, an 8-iron, and a little 3-wood. All of these would be appropriate to play this little shot here, some 15 yards. And the technique pretty much stays the same, so it can be quite easy. So rather than just the lob wedge, pop it up in the air. So we'll go through and go and show you a few. So we've got the 56 here, the most lofted club. So it's a pretty standard address position, pretty central, weight slightly forward, but the key here is to keep the width in the backswing so that the club doesn't get too steep. We don't really want too much interaction with the ground other than width. And pop it forward, and there's a little bit of run out there. Maybe heard there that I caught the ground first before I hit the ball, but that's okay if you're nice and shallow. If you get it steep and catch the ground first, the leading edge digs in, the golf ball will finish here. So we'll move to a straighter face club here. The action's still going to be the same. We won't have to hit it as hard, and the ball won't fly as far to target. It'll come in a little bit lower and we'll have more run. Again, I caught the ground, but it's getting myself there onto the putting surface. The ones I find more tricky with a hybrid or a 3-wood, the faces are a little bit hotter, but again, the same action. Keep it nice and shallow, and it's just like a little putt. Runs along the ground. The reason we keep it on the ground, there's nothing to go over. The ground's firm, and then of course, the one that I would say is the key thing. Anytime you can get a putter in your hand around links golf, there's nothing to be frightened of, is you just get the putter out and just hit it a little bit harder and up to the target. So pretty much the same action, Matt, with 4 different clubs, and the results are pretty similar.
All right, so much of the attention about the nuance of shots that are needed in links golf will be focused on, of course, the Open. And so, Eales, I got something special for you now. I thought, Paul, since you played in so many Opens and you're part of the Open broadcast crew, that you could kind of help us in figuring out how to hit some shots that players will face at the Open, and what can you do if, or even just to understand what they're going through, or what you could do if you're playing links golf to hit out of the lies. And I thought I was pretty generous with the 3 lies that I gave you, don't you think?
No, you weren't, Matt. So, okay, so we've got 3 different situations. Obviously, these balls are all within sort of 6 feet of each other, but it can show the differing in lie. This one actually isn't too bad because I'm playing this way and I can hit the back of the ball. Can you see how it's nice and clean at the back of the ball? So if I can get the club coming in a little steeply, I can hit the ball without having to take too much grass and having to be too vicious with the swing. So the shot's around about 30 paces. I can get to the back of the ball, but I need to come a little bit steeper. The ball's going to come out lower, but we should be able to get this ball on the green. And there it goes, comes out running. but at least we got it, we recovered back onto the green. Now this one is a different scenario altogether. The ball's a little bit deeper, but you can see all this grass I'm gonna have to go through to get to the back of the ball. This is gonna need a lot of speed, but don't forget, you also have the option of declaring this unplayable because this may not come out. Let's have a go, but I'm gonna need a lot of speed, and remember, I'm gonna have to enter through this grass. So if this ball comes out here, we actually may have done quite well, but this is gonna need a bit of force. You can see, goes through the grass, the ball doesn't move. And you'll see this an awful lot with even the best players in the world, with all the speed they've got. There's so much grass for the club to go through, the ball hardly moves. So that's the option, take a penalty. This one, again, similar to the first one, but there's still some grass here. So we need speed to get to the back of the ball, but because it's steep, it's coming out low. So again, it's not a shot that you're going to try and balloon in the air and land softly. You've got to allow for the run, but I'm going to have to hit this harder again because I've got the grass to grow through. It's out, but it's across the green in the other side of the bunker. So 3 different lies, all within 6 feet, all with a different outcome, and it's the lie that dictates it. So it's really important to have a look at how it is and weigh up your options before you have a swing. So Maddie, we've made our way to the green side bunker. You can see typical links, the revetting, that's the sods laid on top of each other to create the wall. Fortunately here the ball's finished in the center of the bunker. It's a nice lie. So again, no need to complicate things here. The sand's nice and soft. So using the sole of your club face, don't be trying to dig the ball out, keep it shallow, take the sand beforehand, maybe wait a little bit further forward. Hands I like a little bit lower to keep the arc a little shallower. Again, this takes loft off the club. We want to keep loft on the club by being nice and shallow, and don't be frightened of big full swing. And let the ball just explode out. And of course you get a face full of sand because it's in, so we call that the shampoo shot, where you get sand in your hair, but it's good for exfoliation.
All right, so now we've made our way to the putting surface. Fescue grass is different than many of the strains that people are used to playing. It's very typical of links golf on this side of the pond. What considerations should we make there?
Well, the first thing to understand is when you're playing links golf, you're exposed to the elements, you've got the wind, the greens are never really as fast as they may be at home. Maximum they would have them, say, for an Open Championship would be 10.5. They could bring that down to 9.5 if the forecast 40, 50 mile an hour winds with the slopes and stuff. So be aware that that's the situation. When you're hitting the ball harder with the putter, it's going to go straighter. So the breaks aren't as great. So here we're a little bit up the slope, into a bit of breeze, a little bit of break from right to left, but the pace is, even if you're putting on a quicker green, pace is key. But when you come and play links golf, be aware that they may be a little bit slower. It doesn't mean to say that they're not good greens. So it's just a full stroke, and that rolls nicely. And again, it didn't really break, so I missed the break by half a cup or a cup outside the right. So again, the critical thing here, as with putting, is pace is so important if you're going to get a good score.